And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to the fourth series of the broadcast. 4 out of 6, pap. Yay. As we have a lot of matches ahead of us, a lot of matches to go, but we have returned here with a best of 5 between Reynor and Zoun. The winner of this series will play against several in the next round of the upper bracket semifinals. Who will it be, as this is a rematch from the RSL a couple of days ago? If you were here on the channel, you would know what I'm talking about. If you weren't, check out the VODs, papi. But Reynor and Zoun, they actually played a couple of days ago in the Revival StarCraft League in the playoff stage as well, in a best of 5. And fun fact, Zoun popped off. He popped off. Zoun did defeat several 3-2. That was what, yesterday? the days are blending together, but I believe that was yesterday or the day before. But yes, Zoun did already defeat Reynor not too long ago with hyper aggressive builds. If you remember what happened in that series, we saw a lot, and I mean a lot, of Glaive Adepts. We saw a lot of different variations of Glaive Adepts, and Reynor had a very hard time keeping up with and defending and determining the exact builds that Zoun was going for, because yes, we saw a lot of Glaive Adept builds. We saw 4 different variations of Glaive Adepts, and the 5th game we saw an 8k3 base all in with Mass Blink Stalker. So again, we went the distance, went all the way to game 5. It barely went 3-2 in favor of Zoun. Can Reynor get his revenge? Can Reynor take it to Zoun here? If he does, I do expect this to also go the distance here, go to a game 4, maybe a game 5 again. What I will say though is that Reynor, he's had some time to go over those games, he's had some time to ruminate and to study Zoun for the rematch. So Zoun relying on those Glaive Adept builds, I don't think he's going to have as much success, but I also would believe that Zoun has other builds ready for Reynor. Oh boy, here we go, as we are going to be setting up. Is it worth for the Koreans to go for the offline event instead of just finishing 5th or 6th? Yes, I would assume so. Yeah, I mean, again, I would imagine, I mean, I'm pretty sure that the expenses are paid for that travel. So traveling to the offline event, traveling to France would definitely be worth it to be a part of the venue, to be a part of something greater, of course. So yeah, for sure. As we are getting to our fresh series, let's go. Especially considering there are some teams that do actually provide travel supports. I think Team Vitality is a good example of that. It is known, but Team Vitality, they do fly like their players over whenever they can. So there are teams, of course, that do have that kind of added supports over other teams. So yeah. Here we go. As looks like the Vitas are done, and we have our map order here. Game 1 is going to be in Pylon, Game 2 Persephone, Game 3 Incorporeal, Tokamak, and Ultra Love. Ooh, okay, so we've gotten rid of Gresvan and Maganatha. We've gotten rid of some of the larger maps in the map pool, but others have filtered their way through. But we start things off on Pylon, one of the more aggressive maps in the map pool. Let's go. Let us go. As spawning in the bottom right hand corner of Pylon, we have the South Korean Protoss player. We have the blue Protoss representing Team Vitality. It is Zoun. And spawning in the top left hand corner, we have the Smoger himself. The hoodie is up, pappy. Let's go. We have the Italian Zerg player, the red Zerg for Basilisk. It is Reynor. Here we go, and if you're in the chat, you know what time it is. It is Gamba time. Predictions are open. Place your bets on who you think will claim the series. Best of luck in the chat. Again, a couple of days ago, as we do have a bit of a pause, but a couple of days ago, both Zoun and Reynor, they played in a best of 5. They played in a best of 5, and Zoun did win that series. Again, that was in the Revival StarCraft League Season 2 playoffs. So this is going to be that rematch. As I was alluding to earlier, though, Zoun was hyper aggressive in that series. We saw 3 base 8-gate all-ins, we saw 2 base glaive setups here with sentries, with force fields, with mass adepts, with 4-gate glaives, with 3-gate glaives, with 4-gate glaives, with 6-gate glaives, 4-gate glaives into DTs. Like, we have seen some crazy builds out of Zoun, some specialized builds. Does he do that again, though? As I mentioned before, okay, as it looks like we do have some camera issues with Zoun. Hopefully can resolve those, hopefully. Fingers crossed. As we're just making sure that the camera is working and that we're not affecting the players by any means with like the camera popping off. So hopefully things will be cleared up. But yeah, I don't expect to see the same builds out of Zoun again. I feel like if he does rely too heavily on glaive adepts, then Reynor, after experiencing Zoun, will be going for safer builds, safer responses, and will have a stronger defense against that. Because of that, I do lean towards Reynor, just because a big reason why Zoun won the previous series was because he surprised Reynor with his builds. So there was that surprise factor that was, I would say, applicable to that previous series, and now that has been taken away. Unless we got some fresh builds. True. Unless we got some fresh builds ready. Here we go. Oh, I see that. Oh, the Smoge in the chat. Yes. Our best Reynor impression. Let's go. I like how Reynor, he's smoging with his hoodie up. At the same time, though, Zoun, he's in the void. He's in just the blackness that is the void, pappy. Fading off into nothingness. Let's go. Let's go. He's inside the vortex. But it looks like Zoun is attempting to lower the bitrate on his camera, because it looks like maybe his camera, like showing his webcam, is like maybe taking a little bit too much bandwidth and causing some latency issues. Legacy of the Void, exactly. But yeah, so to apologize, but there we are. We're good to go. We're good to go. Again, just some tech issues early on, but they have been resolved, and now we can resume. Let's go. Yeah. Shooting up with some caffeine to keep myself going, baby. But now, hatch first. Hatch gas pool, standard opener out of Reynor, likewise get expand out of Zoun. Remember, what are we waiting for? We're waiting to see, does he go for a Twilight Council opener or a Stargate? We're waiting for the tech. That's going to be the big point of deviation here for Zoun. It's going to be his tech of choice. I just hope you were able to get your gamba going while you could. Hope you got it, pappy. Hope you got it. Likewise, welcome to Pylon. Pylon is one of the smallest map of the map pool. Shorter rush distance by ground. Aggression is heavily favored here on Pylon, so that is always something to consider, something to bear in mind, which is why we do lean towards something like a Twilight Council opener. Pylon gets thrown down, and yep, there it is. Twilight Council opener out of Zoun. We're going into glaive adepts once again. Let's go. Well, I'm getting ahead of myself. To be fair, this could be a DT opener into an Archon drop, into just getting map control and harassing. Technically, this could be like a weird charge-based all-in. We're leaning more towards glaives. We are keeping 3 and 3, which typically would be a sign that this is not going to be glaive adepts, but there's a reason for excess gas. We'll get into it if we do commit into glaives. Typically, this would lead into an earlier sentry for force fields. gas is being mined. There it is. Glaives are on the way. Overlord does confirm. And I'm sure Reynor is getting a lot of deja vu right now. He's like, Zoun. Otra vez, papi, otra vez. Maldición. So here we go. We are going to be setting up. Does supply block Reynor for a moment as 3 overlords are finishing up. And again, this is what we saw a lot of from Zoun in their previous series, so you should not be surprised that we're seeing Glaive Adepts. Not at all. Should not be surprised, as we've seen Zoun do nothing but glaives, and again he keeps 3 and 3. We do have a 4-gate glaive setup, and we have the sentry. Now remember, what is the goal here is to load up the sentry, come in with the adepts, and force field the ramp. The goal is to force field the ramp. The adepts say shade on pass, so you can cut the army in half and just wreak havoc in the bases. Now remember, because Reynor has played against this before, Reynor, he should be prioritizing Ravagers to deal with those force fields. Like, Ravagers should be prioritized here for Reynor. Spanish equals Italian. It's close enough. It's close enough, man. Reynor, he goes in, he scouts. C'est my mom, papi. C'est my... Oh, no. C'est my mom. As from here, adepts are going to be warping in. Again, the sentries inside the warp prism. Ooh, I'm loving the position with the Spore. Spore is ready here to zone away the Prism, ideally. Adepts safe in the shade. And behind this, immortal production has begun. We're building up those immortals again. We're working with all this gas. Looks like Zoun is going to be building up the Adept counts, and they won't quite commit in. We're waiting for the next wave. We're waiting for the immortals to reinforce. We'll see if he commits. Again, there are those Ravagers. We spoke about it. The Ravagers are crucial. That's why Reynor's already morphed them in. Ravagers are ready. Sentries revealed. And we can see Zoun throw down what? 2 more gates. So 2 base all in. 2 base all in here, going up to a 6-gate setup on 2 bases with immortal production as well. It's all or nothing for Zoun. And he has not thrown away any adepts. He has retained the adept count here. He has preserved it for the follow-up. And did I say 6 gates? We're getting up to 8 gateways. Aye. So 2 base, 8 gates all in. That's a lot of gateways, papi. That's a lot of gateways. Now, if Reynor drones up too much, he can topple over here. So Reynor, he is droning up. He's saturating his bases, saturating some of them at least. Even Chambers on the way. He's getting some safety spine crawlers up and running as well. Reynor, he knows that the adept count is getting higher and higher. He just scouted here for a 3rd base, so he sees, he confirms no expansion. And it's all about just producing purely Roach Ravager. And again, the spine crawlers will help. Spine crawlers will help. Shades on top of the Ravagers. Gets 1, gets 2. Files they graze the army. And can he overwhelm those Lings? The Immortals gets 1. Gets 1 of the Immortals. The Prism. The Prism likewise is barely gonna go down. Prism does fall. No more reinforcements. And Zoun will fall. Zoun, he will lose everything. He's down to a handful of adepts. The Prism goes down. The Immortal goes down. GG gets called. And Reynor takes game number 1. GG. Whew. GG, well played. Reynor does take a lead in the series, and this is what I was concerned about. If you recall, at the start of the series, I mentioned how I did not like the idea of Zoun going for the same builds, because that was one of the big reasons why he won the previous series, was that surprise factor, was coming in with these non-stop variations of Glaive Adept builds, but they were seen at time. But again, we now already experience all of them, and if we're going to be recycling them, well, now Reynor is better prepared. So GG. GG, well played. With that, Reynor does take a lead in the series, and now we're getting into game number 2. Here we go. Zoun did a really good job at mixing in different follow-ups in that previous series. It was always clear with us, but it was a different follow-up that made it work. If you recall, we already addressed that. We spoke about how he did have 4 different variations of Glaive Up builds, but this is one of those variations that we had already experienced from Zoun. So again, I'm not too fond of the idea of him going back into what we've already seen, but we'll see. We'll see what the plan is as we are getting ready for our next game. Up next, we're going to be loading into Persephone. Getting ready for game 2. Persephone, likewise, will have a lot of potential for aggression, more so than Incorporeal, more so than Tokamak. We'll see if we ever get a standard game out of Zoun, like Stargate opener into a third base. Curious to see if Zoun is willing to play standard against Reynor. It's one of those things where I do favor Reynor in a standard game, so it's on Zoun to be cheeky here. But Reynor, he's you know, gotten accustomed to that. Oh boy. Reste Azura. He's still your goat, Pappy. Follow him into the Adepts. Follow him, Pappy. Jump in head first. It'll be fine. Oh. It looks like our players are ready. Reynor, who's just setting up his cam. And here we go. Spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Persephone, we have the blue Protoss player. With the blue Protoss player himself, we have the South Korean Protoss representing Team Vitality. Down in the series, we'll see if he mounts back. It is Zoun. And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have the Italian Zerg player, the Red Zerg, representing Basilisk, leading the series 1-0. It is Reynor. I follow this game exactly. I think I'll do a good job. Este Azura. Less than 3. If there were ever a duo that would rival the romance that Gemini and Trap have, Azura and Zoun. True. The dedication, the passion, the tension. Let's go. Oh, I say that the other would be like Raza and Maru. True. Este Raza. To this day, still carries the portrait of Maru in his wallet. Still caresses it every night. Every night. Este Raza. Beautiful. For now though, Hashgat's full standard opener out of Reynor. Likewise, Zoun back at home going for his own gate expand into Cybercore. Everything looking normal so far. Based on the second pylon placement, we'll see if he throws it down further back. There it is, he does throw it down further back. This is more indicative of a Twilight Council. Typically, if you open up Stargate, you throw down the pylon closer to the edge of your main to reduce the time it takes for the Oracle to get across the map. That is not always, that's not like a hard rule, but it's like a generality here that we typically do expect. So we're leaning more towards another Twilight Council. We'll keep an eye on Zoun. Oh my god, never mind, we're going for the proxy, okay. The pylon has been set up and Zoun will be hiding his tech, going for the proxy Stargate right outside the main base. So what I just mentioned is applicable. We spoke about how the pylon is typically closer if we're going Stargate, and you don't get much closer than this. Let's go. So again, the Oracle can zoom straight into that mineral line, can wreak havoc, and we'll see if Reynor can figure out what's going on. Reynor, he does go for the Overlord Scout. He sees that the tech is missing, though. Does confirm that the tech is nowhere to be found. So that's a little bit suspect. I know some viewers will think the Raza thing is a joke. It's true. Well, some viewers probably don't even know who Raza is. Others who do, that they don't know what we're talking about. He does actually have a photo of Maro in his wallet. It's true, it's true. It's beautiful. I believe it's signed because he went to Korea for that. He did go to Korea a couple years ago. Did get it signed. Overlord goes back in, still no tech. Something's wrong. Something is wrong, something is amiss. Here we go, the first Oracle is diving into the main base. The Oracle does confirm, sorry, the Overlord does confirm even. And the Spore is ready. Spore is ready, Queens are in position as well. Oh my god, as Zoun gets completely shut down. Reynor, he was ready in the main base, and so far this proxy has not paid for itself. Oh boy. Oracle pulls back. That is a Twilight Council before expansion. Before the third base, so very early Twilight Council here out of Zoun. There's a higher chance it's going to be Glaives. The other option here, this could be Blink. This could be Blink into a Gateway Explosion, no Forge into a 3-base, 8 Blink all in. We'll see if Zoun commits. We've taken the first step. There's a Blink. If we don't get a Forge, I'm leaning towards a Gateway Explosion. Just because Zoun is behind. So it would make sense to go for the 8 gates. Just because we've seen that before in recent times out of Zoun. Goes to the Forge. Never mind, he's going for the Forge. The Forge indicates to us that Zoun wants to play this out. So it's been a shaky start out of Zoun for sure. Has been quite shaky. Does get 3 drones on the right-hand side. But we're going to work towards +1. We're going to work towards saturating the third base into splash damage into a macro game. Oh god, that's still what it gets. Never mind. We're getting up to a 6-gate setup. We'll keep an eye on Zoun here. Still on the fence. See in the chat, is this live? A shout out to Stream Elements, our lovely bots. Does provide a response. Basically, the answer is yes, of course. If we're ever not live, then it would say replay cast in our title. So shout out to Stream Elements.
Game paused.
You have a bit of a pause. Now, as we're getting into our pause here, as we mentioned before, seeing the Forge was indicative that we're setting up for a longer game and that we're taking up. We have the answer here. Robo, Temple Archives into Storm, in towards the mid-game. But again, Zoun, he's stumbling his way into the mid-game. His third base is late. His Stargate is also depowered, so if he did want to transition into Skytoss in a longer game, he's going to have to jump through extra hoops. He has to rebuild the Stargate and to be able to get back into Skytoss, so it's going to be a bit of a shakier road to get there. Likewise, the tech as well is also delayed. He is lacking map presence because of the later upgrades and the later production, just later everything. It's not going to be easy here for Zoun. Oh. So it's not going to be easy, not impossible. Like, there's definitely chances here for Zoun to force mistakes, to find some damage, to get into mineral lines, and to pick up some key units. There are opportunities here for Zoun, but he has to make those opportunities, and he's got to force those mistakes as well. Meanwhile, it looks like, again, Zoun, he was struggling when it came to his networking, when it came to his latency, I should say. So we will be missing Zoun's cam for most likely the remainder of the series. It's all good. It's all good.
Game resumed.
Here we go. Here we go. Oracles do perk in. Reynor embracing the range upgrades, going into Roach Ravager. Hero's taking over? No, I think we all know who's taking over. I'm looking at Azura. Azura, it's time to step up, baby. Azura, he was, of course, lying in wait in Zoun's basement. And now he's out. He's out. He's ready to go. Let me make more adepts, Pat. Let's go. Let's go. Este Azura. So I'm here. Oh. Very distract me. Always forgot Storm. Oh no. Oh no. Okay. My apologies. I'll try not to distract you. But Storm does finish. True. Storm does finish. Thankfully, Azura did remember. Did remember Storm. Stargate's on the way. As we mentioned before, with the Stargate going down, the Stargate has to be replaced, has to be rebuilt to get into Sky Toss. As we have Reynor getting to his own Hive. Hive is on the way. We're taking up and rushing into Lurker Tech. So again, Reynor's looking very comfortable here. He has the economic lead, he has the supply lead, he has the tech lead as well. So Reynor should be able to strike with Lurkers before Skytoss ever really becomes an issue. As you can see here, second Stargate, fleet beacons on the way, but the Lurker Den is almost done. We almost have the Lurker Den. Hive is complete. We can go straight for the Lurker upgrades. We can build up the Lurkers and then hit before we hit Critical Mass Skytoss. That's the goal, that's the plan. Here we go. 3 Lurkers. Lurker production has begun. Now, from the side of Zoun, he is stuck defending, right? He's stuck defending. He's stuck turtling up on 4 bases. He will have the defender's advantage. He can win fights. It isn't about winning fights, though. It's about weathering the storm. It's about surviving the first, the second, the third wave, and maybe even getting on top of the Lurkers. Now, Reynor's maxed. Reynor is maxed out. He does have a supply inefficient army as he has a lot of roaches. Ooh, Stasis Trap does go up. Not bad. Does need the Stasis. There's the first storm. Likewise, he'll run by. Does run into reinforcements, but Reynor, he will defend. Roaches are trying to move in. Getting shut down. Nice storms. Very nice. Storms, they connect with the roaches. And Zoun, so far, he's defending well. Oh, but the Lurkers. Jesus. Yeah, Templar, they have to back off. No! Yeah, the Templar going to be zoned away. The Lurkers, they maintain control of the center of the map in between all the bases. And Reynor, can he push into the natural? He's running out of steam, running out of units. He needs more reinforcements. Reynor trying to break the natural, but he's only got a handful of Lings and a handful of Hydras. Oh, here comes the surround! Yeah, we get on top of the Lurkers, and Zoun, he will clean up these Lurkers. Every Lurker does fall. There's 1 Lurker left. Very nice engage. And Zoun holds. Zoun, he does hold on. As you saw, Reynor, he was able to wedge himself in between the bases with the Lurkers, but he had no support. He needed more Hydras, needed more Zerglings. The reinforcements were not there. And Zoun, he survives the first wave. So far, so good. Now, we're getting ready for the second, right? As we mentioned before, it's not about surviving the first push. It's about surviving the first, the second, the third wave. And then until we can build up a solid composition of Sky Toss and Ground Toss. Zoun is getting there. He's getting there. Meanwhile, Reynor forced to throw down the Spire. Ideally, this would have been thrown down a little bit earlier, but I believe Reynor didn't believe he would need it. So, what, 10/11 minutes Spire timing out of Reynor. Likewise, Reynor investing into all the upgrades, getting +1 at melee, getting adaptive talents, +3, all the upgrades, and likewise claiming the gold. Also, I just realized how torn Azura must be. I just realized that it's Zoun playing, yes, but Zoun is also playing against Reynor. He's playing against his papi. Ay. Feels Azura, man. As Reynor, he's setting up. Throwing down more stasis traps. Again, Zoun, he is maxed. How many Tempests? 9. So we have 9 Tempests so far. We have 8 High Templar. We got a good amount of Storms. What we're lacking here is Archons. The Archon count is very low. Very low Archon count. Slings, they do engage with the Stalkers. Ooh, they reset the no, they reset the Stalker count, and the hatchery survives. The base does live. And Zoun, he's still making more Tempests. We got enough. We have 9. Soon to be 12 Tempest. Now my big concern here, like, Tempests are good and all, but again, they do need support. This is a very vulnerable army to Corruptor. Again, there's only one Archon. And just a singular Archon here for Zoun. The High Tempo count is there, so technically can morph in more Archons. But this is a very fragile army for Zoun. From here we do have our Dark Shrine, second Spires on the way for double upgrades. Another important factor as Zoun is slowly expanding and getting another base is that Reynor does have the gold. The gold is a really crucial base here on Persephone, just because it's so difficult to take your opponent's expansions, but the gold base is meant to be the contested base, the contested expansion, so Reynor does have a slightly boosted economy thanks to the gold. Meanwhile, Zoun moving in. He's got 3 Archons, 12 Tempest. Again, I'm still concerned about the lack of supportive units here for the Tempest. I say lack of supportive units. We're very heavily reliant on the Storms. If the Storms connect, then Zoun, he can preserve his army for sure. Can pull it off. Over there, we get to Jesus. I was making reference earlier. I was like, the Archon count's not there. He was listening, Pappy. Oh my god. Morphs in all the Archons. Okay, now we have an army. 8 Archons. 8 Archons have morphed in. Storms, they defend on the left-hand side. Now this is an army. Okay. And Reynor, can he handle this? Reynor, does he have any spellcasters? The answer is no. So no Vipers, no Infestors. Without spellcasters, it's going to be a tough hold. Going for the double Nidus back at home, though. Zoun, does he recall? Takes down the gold. Gobies goes down. Nidus does complete, but nothing pops out. And Zoun, he's pushing in. He's pushing forward. Forward. At the same time, Nidus across the map. Reynor, he's defending. And he will not get the expansion. There's the recall. And I'll be honest, I'm favoring Zoun when it comes to the main fights. There's potential, sure, with 18 Corruptors, but there's no Vipers. There's no Vipers, there's no Power Bomb, there's no Abductions. Like, Reynor's army is lacking. Zoun's is not. Not anymore. Zoun knocks down one base, and Zoun can just keep on pushing. A couple of Infestors have arrived. Infestors, they can help support. Just a bit. Shall it run by? Azura play, yeah. Take the wheel, Pappy, take the wheel. Azura, he's like, yo, get me up to 12 Tempest. I can make it work. It's like, okay, okay. I got you. And the one advantage that Reynor had isn't there anymore. The gold. The gold is what I mean. The gold base was crucial for Reynor to have and maintain an economic lead over his opponents. The reality is that Reynor does not have one. Yes, Reynor has a bank, but I mean, Zoun, he will, like, these bases are still his. Like, bottom right is Zoun's base. There's nothing that Reynor can do about that. Eventually, Zoun will mine and will saturate this expansion. Reynor, he's double expanding himself. Achieving too much damage. So these will be his bases. They should be. There we go. Nexus is on the way. And this does finish. We do have lurkers on the left. Changing in the center. We have how many infestors? 9. Jesus. 9 infestors. No neural. Yeah, neural is still on the way. Now, we can go for mass neural. True. Up! Fungal goes off. Fungal does connect. No major follow-up yet. But mass neural may be an option here for Reynor. Against all these Tempests. Now getting into Brood Lord production. Will help. Will help against the ground toss. I was afraid of Corruptors, but then Light mentioned the need for many Archons. It's a team effort. There you go. There you go. The teamwork, Pappy. The teamwork. Where are the infestors? We have 8 infestors so far. Here they come. So we have the Broodlord Infestor Corruptor. Infestors, of course, they can fungal, they can neural. Reynor still does not have that center gold, though. It would be disastrous if Zoun can take that for himself. Should not happen. Changelings being shut down. Changelings are being important here, looking for locations for Nidus Worms. So Nidus Worms to rotate. Speaking of, Reynor does rotate towards the left hand side. Tempest taking 2-shot. Oh, Fungal does connect with 1. Nice feedbacks. 2 even. Now pulls away. Likewise, lurkers are getting a lot of value. Defensive Warpins, is a nice catch. Yeah, very nice catch. The Archons are too far back. Archons too far back. They do move forward, and the Corruptors are all going to be shut down. Every Corruptor should fall. Going for the Neurals, though. Neurals on the Archons, of all things. Archons, a turn on the Tempest. But again, we're down to 2, down to 0 Corruptors. And the Tempest, they just go ham on the Broodlords. Yeah, Broodlords are going down. Zoun, he will dominate this fight. Now we make Vipers? The The Vipers are too little too late, as that's the first Viper of the game. Let's go. We're going to be trading bases in a sense, but Zoun's main army is terrifying. Making 6 Tempests at a time. The final Broodlord does go down. Oh, barely escapes. Okay. There's 2 Vipers left. 2 Vipers. Reynor machine too much here across the map, and Zoun is snowballing into the win. And again, it was a very, very awkward start to the game. Remember, it was the Twilight Council's, it was a proxy Stargate which failed to do damage into Twilight Council, into a delayed third base. Mass Storm of the Corruptor stands in the storms. And GG, well played, Zoun. He will tie up the series 1-1. We have a series, we have a back and forth. Whew, GG. GG, well played. Again, Reynor, again, he had a really hard time adapting his army and getting into the later game. Reynor had a very nice lead. True, he had a very nice lead. He had an earlier time with Lurkers, but he did end up missing that timing. We saw that with the help of the Tempest, Zoun, he was trading very, very well, very efficiently, forcing fights on his terms at times as well. It was a crazy comeback out of Zoun. GG, well played. Crazy comeback. And we have a series. We have a back and forth. We are going to be loading into Incorporeal coming into game 3. Yeah, let's go. Infestors add 10 times fun to the viewing experience. I mean, it is always fun to see Infestors come in with mass neural, for sure. It's always a fun thing to see. But unfortunately, we saw that Reynor, he was lacking his own spellcasters, lacking his own Vipers until the very end, of course. And when it came to the engagement, it left much to be decided as well, as he stood in all the storms. Got shut down. GG. GG, well played. With that, we're getting ready here for game number 3, as we're tied up 1-1. True. So we are tied up 1-1. And game 3 is on Incorporeal. Likewise, we have Reynor also turning off his webcam as well. He also said that he was experiencing some frame drops. His PC couldn't quite handle the cam and the PC at the same time. So the smurge is real. Okay. So if Azura's playing for Zoun, Reynor, now that he turns off his cam, who's stepping in? I think we know. I think there's gonna be one man to step in to fill in Reynor's shoes to play against Azura / Zoun as a team combo. Does anyone know who I'm thinking of? Does anyone know? Okay, it's not me this time. Planning my nap. How many more hours approximately? This event should be going for at least another 2 hours. 2.5. At least another 2.5 hours. Baby Marine, not quite the direction that I was thinking. Not quite. Close though, close. Is a Zoomer. You know who steps into the ring? Pushes Reynor aside. He's like, I got this, papi, I got this. Hold on. Hold on. Do I have the technology? Do I have the...
I'm fucking erect right now. This is what Maestros is all about. Oh my god.
It's gonna be Lorimbo, Fabi, Lorimbo. Let's go. Sporting in the top left-hand corner of Incorporeal, we have the South Korean Protoss player. We have the blue Protoss representing Team Vitality, tying up the series 1-1. It is Zoun. aka Azura. And spawning in the bottom right hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the Italian Zerg player, himself, representing Basilisk. It is Reynor. Alongside Lorimbo, baby, Lorimbo. Hold on, what else does Lorimbo say? What do we got?
Yes, it's a bargain.
God. The best thing. The Lorimbo soundboard. God damn it. Este Lorimbo. Ah. But yes, we do continue here with our ZvP, and again, we saw that despite the really rough open, remember Zoun, he was in a really rough place. His third base was delayed, his tech was delayed, his economy was delayed. A lot was in favor of Reynor, but what did Zoun do? One, he reached out to his boy Azura, but he was able to just turtle up to slow the game down to a crawl. I thought it was greedy and risky to rush into Mass Tempest as quickly as he did, but he got away with it. Reynor, he was a little bit later to invest into his corruptors. He went for an earlier lurker timing, and the Mass Tempest did help with the lurkers, and from there, Zoun able to perfect his army, getting into Mass Archon. From the side of Reynor, he had time, he had a bank, but he did not perfect his army. He eventually got into Brewlord Infestor Corruptor Viper at the very end of the game, because the Vipers, they never came into play. They never came into play. By the time they popped out, the game did end, so Reynor, he had a harder time perfecting that army, and having the ideal to deal with Zoun, it's not easy. Like, late game PvZ is not easy at all, especially if you're unable to maintain that economic lead over your opponents and punish bases and delay expansions. Zoun was able to stabilize. But here we go. Now we're getting into game number 3, and this time Stargate opener. No Twilight Council, no Glaive Adepts. I appreciate it. So Twilight Council opener Stargate opener out of town. From here into the Oracle, into the third base. So far it looks like a standard opener, but so far this series we've seen that Zoun has done anything but play standard. So we'll see if he does deviate once again. Este Zoun. The real reason why light has nitro. Yeah, it's true. Not wrong. It's just so I can hear Lorimbo being erect. That's the real reason. Ah, no. That's the Littlelings, by the way. Reynor, he's amassing 16 Zerglings back at home. Are you sure this isn't Lorimbo? Are you sure? With this Reynor, the goal here is to force a cancel, is to shut down the third base, as that's a lot of Zerglings fanning around the left hand side, so far unscattered. Oracle moves out, and the Oracle will miss the Zerglings. Here comes the third, and again, this probe is what Reynor's hunting for. I almost said Lorimbo. Lorimbo, he wants that probe. He wants the base. Lings are moving in, but the Oracle's back at home. Lings, they poke in, the Oracle's in position, and Zoun, he will take a lead early on. All these Lings could have been drones. This could have been workers, this could have been a better economy for Reynor. He invests into Lings, and so far, not worth it. Not worth it for Reynor. Behind this, Twilight Council is going to be thrown down. So that is an early council, early Twilight Council out of Zoun. So I'm leaning towards potentially Glaive Adepts. Otherwise, we could go early Blink pre-Forge. We'll see if we throw it in a Forge or not. Regardless, aggressive setup here. There we go. Forge on the way. So it should be Blink into +1, into delayed +1, delayed Forge. With this earlier Blink timing, the goal should be for Zoun to hit and break the fourth base, as Blink will be done earlier than normal. Will be done early. As Oracles, they do hit the would-be fourth base. They will soften it up. They shouldn't force a cancel, but the Stalker should be amassing back at home as we're already taking up. Taking up into Storm. Temple Archives on the way. Blink is halfway done. Again, my assumption was that Zoun was going to be pushing with Blink, but on Incorporeal, he may just decide to just chill back at home, skip Warp-ins, and tech up instead. Yeah, he's taking up. So Storm has begun. Morphing and Hide Templar for energy. And we've been just skipping Stalker Warp-ins. We've been skipping. So no major Stalker commitment here. The early Blink looks like just going to be mainly safety here. Just be safe. And from here the game will continue. Getting into a longer game state here on Incorporeal can be a little bit weird. Specifically referring to the center expansions, it can be very difficult for a Zerg player to maintain these center bases because of the terrain, because of the power of the Tempest, of course, being able to shell away from one side of the map to the other without too much concern for being called out. So we'll see what the plan is going to be. Reynor moves in for the cancel, and this time he will force a cancel. Not bad. What's that cancellation? Ooh, god, as he does tank one massive storm to the face. It's a lot of Zerglings going down. And now we're turtling up into Skytos. Fleet beacons on the way, Stargates on the way down. His goal once again is to just turtle on up and embrace the mass sky toss. Meanwhile, Reynor, what's the plan? Do we try to raise down tech-wise into the hive tech, into lurkers again? Or do we plan on going for one massive 3-base all-in or 4-base all-in? We're joining up to 86 and no tech. No infestation bits, no hive, no lurker den, pure Lingbane Hydra, lair tech all-in. To do what? To break and to kill Zoun before Skytoss. But Zoun is throwing down the wall of side defense. Cannon shield batteries all being thrown down. Reynor trying to collapse in, but there are plenty of storms. There's 4 storms available for a Templar. So morphing in more Banelings. The goal here, if you have enough Banelings, maybe just over time they'd run out of storms. True. Banelings they attempt to roll in. So Zoun does hold. Nice storm of the Banelings. Yeah, Banelings are being shut down. Another storm of the Lingbane. Oh, does he get it? He gets one. Yeah, one high energy Templar goes down. Nicely done. Gets one Templar, and Reynor, he has done it. He breaks through the High Templar. He breaks into the expansion. And this time, Reynor, he will break in. This time we'll break. Boys, they pull into the Ling Hydra. And from here, technically Zoun does survive. Technically he does clean up the entire army, but we got another wave coming. Ah, no. From here comes it with a second round. Breaks through the side defense, gets some of the Hydras, gets himself of the Stalkers, and GG gets cold. There's just nothing left here. Zoun, he was attempting to turtle up again to Skytos, didn't get there. This time he failed to get there. This time we saw that Reynor was ready to punish, and Reynor does extend his lead. GG. He does take a lead in the series. And it does seem like our players might need a moment here, which is understandable. It's been a very intense couple of matches, of course. So more than happy to oblige. Tiro un momento. But looks like, oh, never mind, we're actually cutting to a break. Oh, we're cutting to a break. So we'll see you guys soon in a couple of moments here after a very, very short break with the remainder of the series. See you soon. See you soon. And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to the final upper bracket quarterfinals match of the broadcast. We are mid-series and we are jumping into game number 4. And spawning in the one-hand corner of Tokamak, we have the Italian Zerg player. We have the red Zerg representing Basilisk, leading the series 2-1. It is Reynor. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have the South Korean Protoss player. We have the red Protoss for Team Vitality. It is Zoun. Here we go. Are jumping in. We are jumping into potentially the final game of the series. Reynor, he's up 2-1. He's up 2-1 for the Unnatural. Natural, welcome to Tokamak. Tokamak is one of the larger maps in the map pool, known for having a longer rush distance by ground. Aggression is not favored on Tokamak, so we should be expecting a longer and later game. But really, it's been Zoun that's been mixing it up. Reynor, for the most part, has been responding. He's been responding and reacting to his opponent. Zoun, he's been the one going for earlier tech timings, earlier Twilight Council, proxy Stargate, for example. Like, we have seen some crazy stuff out of Zoun. And we'll see if that trend continues. Because the one game that Zoun did win, he was able to embrace the late game. We saw that Reynor stumbled his way into the late game and never quite got there, to be honest, but Zoun was able to overwhelm, was able to take him down. We saw that in the last game, Zoun once again was trying to slow the game down and trying to embrace Skytoss, but this time Reynor, he was in a better economic position. He was in a better position overall to punish Zoun's attempted turtling into Skytoss, and Reynor was able to end it early. This time, what do you have for us? What's it gonna be? That was the fastest 12 minutes of my life. True. Oh no. Not like this. You have to speed into the game, man. Speed in. Meanwhile, Stargate back at home for Zoun. So Stargate opener out of our Protoss player, which is standard, but we gotta point it out for Zoun, just because of the crazy builds we've been seeing. Gotta point it out. Go. From here, we are going for the Oracle first. Reynor once again did invest into early Lings. Here we have 10 Lings moving out. The goal would be to delay the expansion. Lings is spotted by the Oracle, and this will keep the Oracle busy back at home. On the one hand, Reynor doesn't really get much damage, but he does delay the third base, and he also delays the Oracle. The Oracle is also kept at home because of the threat of the Zerglings, and this time this was a smaller commitment out of Reynor compared to last time. So not a bad setup. keeping the Oracle busy, allowing for more queens to build up, for more spores to build up. As there's expansion and there's the earlier Twilight Council. Now, last time we saw Twilight Council around this timing, I assumed it was going to be for early Stalker aggression, but if you recall, Zoun decided to tech. He decided to be passive with his Stalkers and to tech up instead into Storm and eventually into Carry, or eventually into Tempest. So you can get there. So Oracle's looking for way in. Late Forge. So the Forge is on the way. Oh, good. The Oracle does take a lot of damage. Oh, no! Oracle pulls out. Zoun gets away. Earlier Eva Chamber out of Reynor. We're expecting +1 melee. I feel like we haven't really seen too much of this at all this entire series just because of how chaotic it's been. Zoun does confirm. From here we have a gateway explosion. We have 4 more gates on the way, but there it is. We're taking up. So I believe this is the same setup that we saw previously from Zoun, where Zoun does go for the early blink. That is true, but from there he does take up further, getting ready for High Templar, getting ready for Archons. And the goal should be to tech, to turtle, and to build up to 4 bases. Should be the goal. Range on the way, not melee. Reynor massing up those roaches. Creep is spreading. Keep an eye on Reynor. As Reynor is investing quite heavily into these roaches. Still droning. Saturating. And he does take gases. Okay, I was curious to see if he was going to cut workers here and just saturate the mineral patches and then just go for an all-in. But no, Reynor is teching. Reynor is teching up. Oh, Everload speed is on the way. We should be pushing. Yeah, so Reynor, he is going to commit here. There's a reason why he's been massing up all these roaches. You can see he's banking roaches and we're going for one massive all-in. The reason why I call this an all-in is not just because of the setup, but because of the lack of tech. No Hydrogen, no Infestation Bits, no Spire, no Lurkerton, no nothing else. Pure Ling Roach Queen. And the job lords are coming. We're setting up for the German taxi. Now, all-ins can be hard to make work on this map. We'll see if Reynor can make some magic happen. Ravagers will help against the stasis traps. Here come the mass doom drop of regular lords. So Reynor's committing. Reynor's been spotted. Zoun is getting ready. He's got a wall of cannons and shield batteries already. The 4th base should be denied. Does at least deny the 4th. Nice storm on the... Oh, Jesus. Nice storm on the roaches. Stasis routes. They will actually preserve all these units. As Reynor does attempt to wedge himself in between the bases. Attempt to. Bleeding out a lot of Ravagers. That's a lot of Ravagers going down. Can he get on top of the High Templar? Looks like he barely can. They do get away though. High Templar, they pull back in time. So now he's moving in. Some rough trades here for Reynor. Zanny's holding. He's holding quite nicely, actually. And remember, Reynor, he has no follow-up. Like, he has no tech, he has no infestation pit, no hive, no hydrogen. Reynor, he will lose everything here. I say that, okay, reinforcements, they come in for a flank. Getting on top of the roaches. It's still very intense. And Reynor's not backing down. He's not backing down. Zoun has been surviving, but just barely. Now, less High Templar, less Storm. Here pushing in. Fleet Beacon has begun. Reynor's on the timer. Roaches, they do peel off. They head into the main. To the main base. Files. Oh, Jesus. Massive connections. And yeah, Reynor, he's done it. At this point, he has done it. He has broken the back of Zoun. I was very impressed that Zoun was able to survive until this point, and even here is still holding on. But as with that, Reynor, he backs off, he regroups. The creep here is spreading in an insane fashion. From the queens, the tumors, the drop lords. It's creep everywhere. Oh, the creep. And Reynor just has to keep trading. Just has to keep on trading. Once again, poking in. Once again, this might not be the most efficient fight here from Reynor, but it doesn't have to be. Once again, it will take something crazy here for Zoun to recover. This isn't just about Zoun being contained here at his third, it's the fact that there's no fourth, right? There's no fourth expansion. Fourth base. Zoun running out of resources. Miles, they will zone away. And Reynor, he... Oh, Jesus. Reforce back. Storms do zone Reynor back. Waiting for his injects. There go Lings, they do cross that line. They get on top of the army. Got Zoun microing his heart out. Honestly, Zoun is trading quite nicely. There's so much working against him, but he's holding on back. Snark on. Now, Zoun is slowly expanding, getting a fourth base. If this goes by undetected, then maybe, but that's we're on some Copium happy on that one. For that base to actually come into play, no shot. Once again, it is so difficult to actually break a turtling player here. But there we go. The forward blink, Stalkers are going to be going down, and Reynor looks like has finally done it, has finally broken the back here on Tokamak. Was an intense series. It was a very intense series right back and forth. But GG gets called, and Reynor, he will claim the series 3-1, advancing on to the upper bracket semi-finals. GG. Ooh, GG, well played. Congratulations, Reynor. He will claim the series. Again, a very intense back and forth. We did have some longer games here as we saw Zoun slow things down to a crawl and embrace that longer later game. But alas, here we did see alas, Reynor being able to keep up, being able to punish Zoun for cutting corners and for attempting to rush into Skytoss. Was shut down for it. Was shut down. GG well played. With that, we're going to be going on a short break. There are 2 series remaining here tonight. It's going to be a ZvZ between Reynor and Cyril, if not mistaken. Likewise, we also have Clem versus... Is it Clem versus Classic? I'll have to double check. Actually, we can have a look together. Have a look together here. Bam, there we go. Yes, so Clem versus Classic and Sel versus Reynor. Those are going to be the upcoming matches here tonight. Oh boy, the best players in the world are about to duke it out, and we're going to be going on that break. When we come back, we'll have, I think it's going to be Clem versus Classic first. See you soon. See you soon after the break.